Hey, it's Paul Ramsey, back with what I think will be the final video, sort of an cleanup category, miscellaneous markets, all rolled into one. All right, this last video we're going to talk about nightclubs and resorts. We're going to talk about cruise ships. We're going to talk about casinos, all that kind of stuff real quick. Because what they have in common is they're sort of fringe markets in the stage hypnotism world. And so there isn't a lot of work in any of these markets. That's what they all have in common. There isn't a lot of work. There is work. So we'll just go through them. Okay, first of all, cruise ships. If you want to work in the cruise ship market, you need to find a talent buyer for a cruise ship company. You market direct to them. And what you need to be ready for is from people that I've talked with that have worked in that industry. I have not worked in that industry. The standard is 3-month minimum commitment. You do 3 months at a time on a ship. They have them set in they have a route, like a loop that they do. And for 3 months, you ride on that ship and you run the loop over and over and over again. So for example, let's say, you're on a Caribbean cruise ship and, for 3 months, you just keep looping from Haiti to, Venezuela to Trinidad and Tobago, back up to Miami, right? They have some kind of a loop like that where you just keep cruising. And so you need to be prepared to make that commitment that you would be on the ship for sometimes up to 6 months at a time. They do not pay very well. The cruise ship industry has shifted its model to trying to hire a lot of young artists who are willing to work more for the experience and less so for the money. You get to live on the cruise ship. You usually have your meals taken care of as part of your compensation, and then you get a little bit of money. On your days off, you can, hang out on the ship. When you're in port, if you don't have to work, you can go in like a tourist. But it is not as glamorous as people would probably think when they first talk about it. Definite con, if you've got family, you can't bring your family with you typically. You're going to be in a small cabin for the workers. You get your own small cabin and like I said, not a lot of money as well. If you're young, if you want to get out and see the world, if you want to work with other entertainers and learn from that dynamic, and then it's a good fit. And probably the biggest benefit, I think, of working cruise ships is it gives you a real chance to work on your chops. If you're new to the entertainment industry, when you're going to be on a cruise ship, you're going to be performing again and again and again and again. And so it's regular work, and that's really nice. You get to work on your skill set pretty intensely. Similar to the cruise ship market would be fairs, state fairs, county fairs. Downside, con, is they're very seasonal. It's not like fairs are happening all year long. They happen in a couple select times of year, the fall mostly. And so you have a whole bunch of people having fairs in a small window. You can't be everywhere at once. You've got to work to get as much work as you can in that small window. If you set it up well, I've known a couple hypnotists that have really focused on cracking into that market. It's almost like it's a mini tour though. You can start in some states and move through other states and sort of follow the fair schedule. And when you do that, you can have regular work for that whole period. Fairs typically have small budgets. They do not pay well. The most I ever got paid working at a fair was $500, I think. I haven't done a lot of fair work because of that. I've stayed away. Here in the Northeast where I am, a lot of county fairs have really small budgets. Some of the bigger state fairs, maybe in the Midwest or the other parts of the country, may have bigger budgets. But for me, it's always been sort of a small experience. The other nice thing is some of the bigger fairs, if it's like a 7-day fair, you can get a contract where you perform every day, sometimes twice a day, for that whole period of time. So again, it's a good chance. Working at fairs can be a good opportunity to really work on your chops, to get regular performing opportunities. Again, fairs, not particularly high paying, but give you a good chance to get work on your chops. Not lots of traveling. Usually you're going to work within your region for fairs. If you wanted to, you could go and travel to other states, but typically you're just going to work within your region. The last thing I would say about fairs is if you want to get into that market, there is an organization. They have a professional organization that's for all of the fair organizers. And they have their own little conferences each year, sort of like a convention. And what you can do is you can purchase a booth at the vendor area for that convention, and you can use that as an opportunity to meet people who have buying power within the market. They also will set up opportunities for artists to showcase, and that's a whole other process where you have to apply, provide a demo usually that shows you, get selected by the committee. But if you get chosen to showcase, then you really get a chance to increase buyers' opportunities because they like to buy what they've seen firsthand. So that's a big part of how you get into that market, is you go to where the convention is and work with your buyers directly for that. So that's cruise ships and fairs. Nightclubs and resorts, they're separate. I should talk about them separately. Resorts, if you really want to work resorts, it's a very difficult market because, again, much like cruise ships, what resorts have done with their business model is they have swung toward hiring low-wage young people as their primary entertainers. Lots of dancers, variety acts, people who would work a casino night or different things like that. They tend to hire young people who would rather have the fun of staying on a resort for a while and working with other young people. They don't have a lot of resorts today don't do the old-fashioned thing where you have a big name headliner and you pay them a lot of money to stay at your resort. That's pretty rare nowadays. So it's another thing where what you would do is you would choose to take less money for more regular performance opportunities. If you're going to work at a resort, you might do a show 3 nights a week or something like that, and you're doing it to get that experience of performing on a regular basis. Again, resorts have their own buyers. They have talent buyers. You'd need to contact the resorts directly, show them some kind of a demo video, and get selected that way. Nightclubs. Nightclubs are, from what I have heard, a lousy market to work in, but they are a market. I have met one hypnotist in particular who did very, very well, but it's rare. What mostly happens with nightclubs is you get a percentage of the cover charge, the ticket to get in at a nightclub, and the promoter, the nightclub owner or promoter, they're getting you in so that it drives more attendance and they make more money on alcohol sales. So the catch for that is, they're gonna make the ticket prices pretty cheap because they want people to come, and they're gonna mostly just focus on letting you drive attendance. So for example, I have a friend who headlines twice a month at the biggest casino in North America. He's in their comedy club, which is like a nightclub basically, right? And so, he's been doing that for years, and he, biggest casino in North America, beautiful facility. He typically brings home like $500-600 at the end of the night because he's just getting the ticket revenue. The nightclub only holds 250 people, and so he's not filling it most nights. And the owner is happy. The person who runs the club, they're happy because there's enough people that they're doing fine on alcohol sales. But that's a tough market to work in. Plus the idea that people are drinking alcohol, more bad behavior, more heckling, less respectful atmospheres, tough place to work. The good side is, if you can work a nightclub, if you can work a comedy club, a nightclub where alcohol is being served, if you get used to that, if you can work that kind of atmosphere, you can pretty much work any place because you're going to be dealing with noise, distractions, sometimes hecklers, sometimes drunk people who come on stage and think they're going to be funny, trying to get hypnotized. And it's about as many different distractions as you can have in a stage hypnosis show. So, you know, if you can do the nightclub scene, I think you can pretty much do anything. So let's see, anything else? I think that's about it. Nightclubs, fairs, cruise lines, resorts, casinos. It's sort of this, it's like a cross between a resort and a nightclub. What casinos mostly do nowadays, they lease space within the casino. So if they've got a nightclub or a comedy club or even a theater, they will lease you as the artist, they will lease the space to you, and it is your job to market that event, promote that event, sell tickets for that event. In the old days, right, the casino took care of everything. Well, now they don't want to. They don't want to be bothered. So what they're doing now more than ever is they lease the space to you, and it is completely on you to sell tickets, put people in the seats, and make your money. And that way, they've got their lease fee coming from you no matter what. You're paying the lease. And all the risk is off of them and on to you. It is a challenging market. If you want to get into it, it's that kind of thing where if you get big, if you're in Vegas or Reno or at some of these casinos, you know, putting your face on a billboard and doing all the marketing and drawing a real crowd like that, it's a pretty big thing to be able to say you headline in one of those markets. So it's something that if you were going to get into it, you would need to have a highly detailed and effective campaign planned out for how to market to people and get people to come to that show. So pretty big challenge considering that you've got a flat monthly fee on the lease, pretty big risk. So I think that's it. I think that's the last of your remaining markets. So if you want to talk more about markets, leave questions in the comments area under these videos, or feel free to get in touch with me at BestHypnosisTraining.com. I'm Paul Ramsey, and thanks for listening and watching.